now that you know who we are, let's kick things off. With our first segment, B and I are kicking around some names. Let's just start, we'll call this, quote me, I dare you, as our first segment. So for my first segment, I'm going to talk about my first hot take. So what I think is that the Chicago Bears will have a coach and GM selected by, I'm going to say mid next week, Wednesday to Thursday. I feel like the McCaskies are really under pressure. I think they're going to really want to be one of the first people to get their choices down and in place. I think it's going to be, bear with me, Morocco Brown of the Colts and Matt Eberflus as the head coach. They're a combo. Yeah, they're a combo. They've known each other. Morocco Brown has worked for the Bears before from 2001, 2007 as assistant director of pro personnel. Matt Eberflus is a defensive coach. We all know how Bears like defensive coaches. And I watched him in HBO's Hard Knocks, and he's really, really good leader. It looks like he has the respect of all his players. I feel like he would be a good fit for Chicago. You know, so that's my opinion. I think it would work. Also, one of the things to know is not only was Morocco Brown the player pro personnel from 2001, 2007 with the Bears, but he was also the college scouting director under Chris Ballard. I love Chris Ballard. I think he's done really great choices from Darius Leonard. He signed Buckner, the big guy in the middle, number 99, I believe. I can't remember his first name, Martellus Buckner. Are we thinking about the right guy? And, you know, I think the only thing he may have missed on is Carson Wentz, but I think he's better than what they had before, you know? So I really think he's a good choice. I think those two are going to really, they can work together well and actually be on the same page. What do you think?
I mean, at the end, I think it's just about consistency with that area. There's a lot of different names that are kind of being thrown out there for head coach and GM, and some of them I don't feel like would mix right. But also, I don't know, like I know the Giants just hired their GM, the guy from what was his name from the Bills? Do you know?
No, not off the top of my head. I don't know.
I don't know, he worked with the Bills and all that. So like the hiring process is getting started now. I just don't want them to rush into anything. But I like that hire. Like I like that combo. I think as long as it, like I said, provides like some type of consistency within the team, it'll be good. Because I know, like, I feel like with Pace and Nagy, like, I feel like they were like friends, but when it came down to like the Bears, they didn't see eye to eye a lot. And I think that is what. Yeah,
I think you're right. Like, I think going into the season, you thought they would be on the same page. Like, you were thinking, oh, hey, Matt Nagy has to get it right. He has to. He knows this is his last year. Why wouldn't you say, hey, Ryan Pace, let's work together. What are you thinking we need to do? And then they went and signed Andy Dalton. Okay, fine. You didn't know that you were going to, at the time, be in a position to draft Justin Fields. I get it.
And
but then once you had Justin Fields, your last year, you know, you knew that going in, you had to make the playoffs. You had to make the playoffs if you wanted
to win a playoff game.
Not just make the playoffs, but win the playoffs, just to keep your job and go on to 2022. And it just seemed like from the beginning, they just screwed it all up. Like they said, Andy Dalton's going to be our number one starter. And okay, fine. You can go into camp saying that. But once you see the talent on the field for Justin Fields, how can you say, Justin Fields is good, but let's go with old
Red Rocket.
Red Rocket, Andy Dalton. What are you doing?
And like I talk about it, I'm going to talk about it a little bit later once we get into the offense. But the stubbornness behind it all is you have an offense that was designed for Andy. Andy starts the first like 3-4 games, but like if you're a head coach, how are you not like salivating at what you could do with Justin Fields? Why don't you you have a whole separate playbook? Like, why aren't you every single night going through the possibilities with Justin? You know, like, and honestly, like when I say the consistency, that's what, like, I want that. I don't want every single week to be an issue where it's like, okay, Andy's our starter this week. then Nick Foles is our starter next week, and then Justin Fields is the starter. And like, I know injuries happen and all that, but we as fans don't know what's going on. I don't even know if the players at this point know what's going on. When Nagy and Pace were there, it was just so, it just never made sense. Yeah,
it was disjointed. If I remember talking to you halfway, not even halfway, maybe I think after the Cleveland Browns game, when it seemed like they were Matt Nagy literally tried to murder Justin Fields on the field.
Looks like it's on purpose.
It looked like he was like, oh, you want Justin Fields start? Let me show you what he can't do.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like, listen, at the end of the day, you have to be able to, if you want to be a successful quarterback in the NFL, you have to drop back, and you have to be a drop back passer.
Mm-hmm.
I don't doubt that. You look at someone like Patrick Mahomes, you look at Josh Allen. Yes, they've all dropped back, but they use their legs when they have to, right? I saw Patrick Mahomes. He'll drop back. He'll take 5 to 7 steps. He's ready. He looks in the pocket. He takes his time. He surveys the field. He goes to his first, second, third, fourth reads. Fine. If he doesn't see what he likes, then he starts rolling out, sometimes unnecessarily, but he rolls out. Look, first of all, the Bears' offensive line doesn't give you time for anything. They didn't give them time for anything until later in the year when they started to get a cohesive unit, which that's a whole other indictment on Ryan Pace and Matt Nagy, that they couldn't recognize the talent in the offensive line that they already had in-house. They had Elijah Wilkinson starting in place. Elijah Wilkinson is your emergency guy. He shouldn't even be your first, second, or third guy. He should be on your practice squad somewhere. He shouldn't be anywhere on the roster. So I'm going to say that. Jason Peters, I think, performed better than most people thought he would. When it came down to it, I think he was solid. He was never going to be the Pro Bowl Jason Peters from 10 years ago. The guy's 39 for God's sakes. I don't expect him to be. But to sit there and drop him back 5 to 7 steps every time, when he was just learning, he didn't have any time with his first team before that, other than that week's practice. So they had to. So just knowing that they practiced, he knew that what his ability would be and wouldn't be leading up to the game, and all he did was drop back. They no quarterback sneak runs, no planned sweeps, no rollouts. I mean, I think they rolled out probably in the third or fourth quarter after that, and literally, I was sitting there yelling at the TV, just yelling like, "Oh my god, they're going to kill him before he's even started. They're going to ruin it."
Yeah, he had so many injuries. Like, I don't know. We'll get more into it when we get to the offensive part of it, but yeah, I like that. I want a hire soon. I hope it's not rushed. I hope whatever it is that they feel they are good to go with, they go with it, because I just want them to finally just be like, this is what we're doing. We don't care if you like it or don't like it. This is what we feel is right. We're going to stick with these two guys and we're going to see what happens, because whoever they pick, it's going to be the next 3 to 4 years of us dealing with it. So, well,
it's a good thing that Ted Phillips doesn't have anything to do with the hiring process this time. I know last time it was Ted Phillips, it was Mike McCaskey or George McCaskey, and I think they brought some other kind of consultants in. Yeah. This time it seems like it's George McCaskey and Bill Polian. Mm-hmm. And Bill Polian, he's 845 years old, but he's been with a winning organization. He's won a Super Bowl. He's drafted the players possible. He's been through that process for decades. So let's give him the benefit of the doubt. I give George McCaskey, no benefit of any doubt that he'll get it right. But if he's leaning on Bill Polian, let's give him some kind of benefit of the doubt.
Yeah. I feel like in their own way, what they're doing with this hiring process is somewhat admitting that they screwed up and that they need help. And it's us getting help from anyone is better than Ted Phillips and George running it themselves, in my opinion. Yeah. So I think, and at the end of the day, I remember we would talk about it during the games, like, how can the offense get any worse? How can this team get any worse? And Nagy would prove that it could get worse. I think we really hit a low point with offense. And I think it's just up from here. As long as we commit to whatever we're going to commit to. I just want just consistency and a commitment to what they believe is right. Because you're not going to like, 50% of the people aren't going to like it, 50% are. So just roll with something. Like,
yeah, no, I It has to be. It has to be whoever they determine the guy to be. That guy has to be the guy, right? It can't be like a. And part of me says I think they should hire a GM first, because that GM will at least have a say in who the head coach would be. So I'm pulling for Morocco Brown. I think he has the good qualifications. I think he has the good background. He has the pedigree. I think he'll be a good choice. And then I think if it is Morocco Brown, I think he'll bring in Matt Eberflus, or he'll at least lobby for him. And then, I think I like Eberflus. I think he'll be a good leader. I think he'll be able to hold people accountable. I think he'll be able to motivate the team and hopefully bring in the right guy to work with Justin Fields. Everything has to be focused around Justin Fields. And I know we're going to get into that later, but it has to be Justin Fields. If it's not Justin Fields and they screw this up, they're going to be, it was like the last 7 years. Screw it. The last 80 years will be in vain. Like, we haven't had, I get so frustrated watching highlights and watching talk shows and people talking about pro offense and how the Bears haven't even had a 4,000-yard passer. Didn't Mac Jones pass for 4,000 yards this year? I have to look it up for sure. But if Mac Jones, who hasn't half the talent of Justin Fields, but again, he has great coaching. Bill Belichick, one of the greatest coaches of all time, and Josh McDaniels, one of the best offensive minds in the game. So it has to be all about Justin Fields. And I'm hoping for Morocco Brown. I'm hoping for Matt Eberflus. I know everybody's going to say he's a defensive coordinator. I don't care. I don't want him to bring in a Dabble if he's going to be the same thing as Nagy. I think he's not, but we'll see. We'll see.
Yeah.
Morocco Brown, Matt Eberflus. Those are my picks.
I like it. I'm going for it. All right. So
Brandon, what's your take?
So I got one for the Bengals and Titans game coming up. I feel like I do have the Titans winning it. And I really have missed those insane Derrick Henry games. So I got Henry rushing for over 100 and getting 2 touchdowns today. I feel like they have the bye week. They've been rested. And honestly, they're the most under the radar 1 seed I've ever seen in football. I think I'm not going to say like the Bengals are a good story, because I think they are a legit team and I could see the Bengals winning, but it's setting up too perfect for Derrick Henry to have a great return, because I don't know their names, but I know a few of their defensive linemen got hurt, the Bengals. So I don't know. I just feel like Derrick Henry is going to go crazy. And I think it's going to set up a Titans and Bills AFC Championship game. And I think it'll be a very, not like high, I don't think it'll be high scoring, actually. I think the Titans are going to control it with the run game. And then the Bengals are going to be forced to like have to air it out and have to, really, really go crazy on offense, which when they're clicking, Joe Burrow can throw 500 and something yards and 3-4 touchdowns. So I don't know. I think it could go either way, but I'm going with that. I think Henry's going to have a great game in his return and kind of like cement himself back as probably one of the best running backs in the league right now. And
I know that we're going to do our picks probably last for this weekend's playoff games. And as we talk, we're like 3:00 on Saturday, the 22nd, 2022. So we're about an hour and a half from first game's kickoff, but I'm going to go. I'm not going to talk about the pick of the game, but I think Derrick Henry is going to be completely neutralized. I don't think he's. You have to think about how long he's been on the DL or the injured reserve list. How long he has yet to, and how many miles are on him right now. I think the last few years he has the most carries of any running back in the league for over the last by far. Mm-hmm. And I think we're going to start to see a little bit of a decline from him, only because he's just had so many carries. And he's a freak of nature. Don't get me wrong. I've seen some of his workout highlights. It's insane. The guy is like 4 of me. Okay, he could bench press me with his pinky. Yeah. I believe it. I would love him to prove it. I think he could. Yeah. But I think there's too much rust. I think there's just it's not. I don't think that's what's going to happen. And I think it's going to be a big game for Joe Burrow, because Tennessee's defense is not great. And I love me some Burrow.
Mm.
He's that guy. He's like a little bit of he's a little bit of a Joe Namath, you know, and a little bit of Joe Montana, and a whole lot of swag. Just he's just dripping in swag. Did you watch his post game after the defeat last week? And had those cool little glasses.
Yeah.
He had that one curl from the bottom of his hair. And they asked him, "What do you think of your first playoffs?" That's cool.
Fine. Big deal.
Jump off a bridge. It's cool.
Yeah. He's awesome. I'm happy for organization as a whole. But yeah, I like Joe Burrow. And I hope they do. I would love to see them in the AFC Championship game. I'd love to see them in the Super Bowl, but I think it's a little bit of a too young of an offense right now. Not enough, they just won their first playoff game in 30-something years, but that division is wide open for them.
I think they have potential to get that division for the next 7 years if they do it right. If Joe Burrow can stay healthy, and that's a big if because he's been sacked most. I think last year he was sacked like 30, 36, 37 times, and he got hurt. And
I remember
another 30 or 40 times as well. So
the reports coming out, in the beginning of the season, he wasn't looking to, but whatever. Yeah, I think that'll be a sleeper game for a lot of people. But yeah,
okay.
Hot take, Derrick Henry.
All right, so here's my next take, and this one's near and dear to my heart.
Oh.
So about a week and a half ago, Dave Portnoy was on Barstool Sports. He was on one of the podcasts, and I think it was the rundown. I'm pretty sure. I have a link, and I'll send it to you so you can put it in the description below, Brandon.
Yeah.
And it's going to have the runtime of the time log as well when you can go because it's about an hour and a half long. You don't want to watch the whole thing. You want to go specifically to this take. He had the audacity, the unmitigated gall, to quote Steve Smith, all right, on ESPN, the unmitigated call to say that Gene and Jude's is overrated.
Oh,
let's not. Not only is Gene and Jude's, let me preface this by saying, I live in Florida. Brandon he's going to college in Fort Myers. We don't have the opportunity to go to Gene and Jude's all that often. All right. The first time I went to Gene and Jude's was, I was a kid. My dad took me there, and still maybe a teenager. I think it was one of the teenage trips, and we went there, and I was like, what? Because the typical traditional Chicago dog is run through the garden. You got your neon green relish, you have your onions, you have your tomato and sport pepper and celery salt, and the poppy seed bun. That's what everybody sees on the thing. That's what everybody thinks a Chicago dog is. I beg to differ. Gene and Jude's is the Chicago dog. You get your sport pepper, you got your onion, you got your relish, you got your mustard. You don't have your tomato, you don't have the lettuce, none of that. You don't need the celery salt. You have the steamed bun, and then you can get either the single a dog or you can get a double dog. And then they stuff it with the fries, and then they put the sauce. It's magical. It's absolutely magical. Every time I go, I've been to Chicago twice in the last 3 or 4 years. Brandon, you've been with me both times. What did we say every time?
Oh, Gene and Jude. We're going to get 20 hot dogs.
We got to get 20 hot dogs.
We do get 20 hot dogs. Yeah.
And we get 20 hot dogs. We eat them all. We feel horrible afterwards, but not like that bad that we regret it, but that bad like we should have got more.
Should have got more. It's over. Yeah.
Should have got more. It's done. I need the first time we went, it was back in, I want to say 2017. It was just after the Cubs won the World Series.
Yeah.
Okay. And I said, Brandon, this is an amazing hot dog. You're like, okay, no, it's an amazing hot dog. Wait till you have it. No, it can't be on that great. Brandon lost his ever-loving mind, right? Lost his mind. So much so that when he went on his own, took the subway, went all the way out to the suburbs because we were staying in the city at the time. We were in downtown. We stayed in River North. And if you're a local to Chicago, and I know I have a lot of families probably going to watch this, Brandon, as a 17-year-old, took the subway, went all the way down to where Gene and Jude's is, which is outside Chicago in the suburbs. Took an Uber to River Grove, to where Gene and Jude's is located. bought a bunch of dogs, brought them back with him, went to the subway, probably eating them on the subway.
Yeah.
Eating on the subway. And
Well,
he
like
ate them all.
Buffalo.
For Dave Portnoy to sit here and say that it's overrated, I was floored. Now, here's where he's coming from. He's coming from a perspective of, oh, it's just a tourist thing, and if you're from outside Chicago and you're not going to think it's a big deal. No, that's not true. That's not true. It's got a little bit of everything for everyone. Not only that, you can get a tamale there. You can get the dub. I don't think you can get a Polish. I don't think you can get a Polish sausage there. It's just strictly hot dogs and fries, and they stuff the dogs with fries, and it's just you eventually you bite into it and you get a little bit of fry in there, that stray fry that you
get a little bit of the pepper.
A little bit of the pepper. You get the onion. You get the relish. You get it all, and it's magical. And
I actually
it's overrated.
So where I'm living now, so there's this place called Buddy's Pizza. When we went the first time when you came up, and I can finally recreate it. It's not the same. It's nowhere close to being the same, but I have. It's a Chicago style hot dog, like you were explaining earlier, like the tomatoes,
the Vienna beef, right?
Green. Huh?
The Vienna beef.
Yeah, the whole thing. It looks like you got it from like the Wrigley Field Stadium, but they give you a side of fries. So my fat ass stuffs all the fries in it, and it kind of somewhat recreates it, but it's not the same. But shout out to Buddy's Pizza. Place is great.
Buddy's Pizza in Fort Myers.
And Fort Myers there's like 2 in Chicago and 1 randomly here. So I'll take it. And I live right behind it.
It's amazing.
Yeah.
We went there. We had the pizza. I thought the pizza was pretty good. They had the thin crust. That was pretty good. Buddy's Pizza.
The deep dish they got. So good.
But everybody, please check it out. I have nothing but respect for Dave Portnoy. I love his pizza reviews. He got us through the pandemic with his unboxings. Me and my wife watch his reviews every single day. I love him. Love Dave Portnoy. If I were to ever meet Dave Portnoy, I'd probably be that fan standing outside with the camera phone, just trying to get his autograph and give him a hug and everything. I love Dave Portnoy. But come on, Dave. Come on. He tried to say that there was this hot dog. It's like a gourmet hot dog that you get from, and it's like $48 for 6 dogs. Right? That those are better than Gene and Jude's. And I'm like, how dare you? They're steamed dogs, they're steamed buns. You get them fresh. They make their own fries, by the way. It's nothing's frozen. You see them cutting the fries, you see them putting them in, you see them stuffing them in your bag, and you can either eat them in the store, or you can sit out by your car. Or like we did, we post up outside and just eat them on the floor. And I think he's coming from a perspective of comparing it to other things. And yes, I have a bit of a nostalgic perspective, but I mean, I can't. It's just amazing. Gene and Jude's, Chicago. Everybody who's from Chicago knows what I'm talking about. And if you don't know what I'm talking about, if you're in Chicago, take a trip out to the suburbs, go to River Grove, look up Gene and Jude's. It will change your life. Hot dogs forever. That's the way to do it. Dave Portnoy's wrong, completely off base. Gene and Jude's the way to go.